What is going on, everybody? My name is Repel from youtube.com/user/RepelGames, and I have Wi-Fi battle number 12 for you. And I do have to apologize to my viewers ahead of time because I forgot to actually hit the record button on my OBS until the very last minute. So what you're about to see is in fact a full-on battle from turn 1 to the very last turn, but I actually forgot to record it until, well, the battle just started. So I can't really introduce my team immediately, but I will show you the screenshot and I will show you, well, just the team that I have and the opponent I'm against. So we are up against opponent Kai, aka Undead. YouTuber Undead is a really cool YouTuber, and I will leave the link to his channel in the description right below. But anyway, looking at his team, honestly, I just want to lead off with the Chandelure, and to be honest, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So without further ado, I am just gonna go straight into the the battle right here. So we are up against Undead, and lo and behold, I do lead off with the Chandelure, and coincidentally, he actually does lead off with what I really hoped he would lead off with, which is the Ferrothorn. So that's really sweet. He does have a Centiskorch in his back, and Centiskorch does have Flash Fire, so it's a little bit too obvious to go for a fire move. Just way too obvious. So instead, I just went for a Trick. And what's great about Trick is I'm carrying this Choice Specs, so this Centiskorch is now stuck on Choice Specs. And actually grabbed his Heavy Duty Boots, so I am no longer weak to Stealth Rock. So that's really sweet. And on top of that, his Centiskorch is really weak to Stealth Rock. So I'm thinking he might have some sort of rock move on his Centiskorch. Not really too sure what this Centiskorch can do, but possibly maybe a rock move. So I figured I'll just go to Sandaconda. And number 2, Sandaconda can actually set up some Stealth Rocks. So hopefully I can get some, early game rocks. At least that's what I want. My opponent will stay in. I do set up my Sandaconda. If he hits me, I do get to spit up sand. But because he knows he's stuck onto Choice, he's going to go straight for the Dynamax. So what's really cool about Dynamax is basically it kind of negates all Choice items. So my opponent's Centiskorch is no longer stuck to any moves. He's free to use all 4 moves. And like, Jesus Christ, man, like this Centiskorch goes straight for the Max Geyser. I don't even know. I didn't even know Centiskorch could learn a water move. I don't even know what kind of water move, honestly. I don't know, maybe Aqua Tail, but he does set up the Rain. And I do live with 11 HP, but he does activate my Sand Split. So that will bring up the sand, but to be honest, even with the Citrus Berry, Sandaconda is not sitting too comfortably, and I'm really sad. Like, I'm genuinely sad. My opponent still has a Rotom, so I really want to preserve my Sandaconda. So unfortunately, I'm going to do another switch. I know what you're thinking, like I'm kind of wasting a lot of turns, wasting a lot of HP, but to be honest, my opponent went for his first Dynamax, so he only has 2 more turns of Dynamax. So if I can afford to just switch around and save my team and stall out all his Dynamax, I do have a chance. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Toxapex, expecting another Max Geyser, but he actually goes for a Max Overgrowth, which is alright. Like, I would prefer a Max Geyser because I resist it, but at least, thanks to my half poison type on my Toxapex, the Overgrowth only does neutral. So, yeah, it does a good amount. Right? It did like a quarter. However, because of the grassy terrain, the next Overgrowth will do so much. The next Overgrowth will do even more, so I have no choice but to go for the Recover. Now, keep in mind, my opponent, Centiskorch, did go for 2 turns of Dynamax, so after this will be his 3rd and final turn of Dynamax. So at least we don't have to fear Dynamax or Gigantamax Centiskorch anymore. And number 2, in the normal Centiskorch form, he is forced to hold the Choice Specs. So I always just want to go for the Recover. I knew I could live the next grassy terrain boosted Max Overgrowth, but at least I still, managed to stall out all 3 turns of his Dynamax. So, lesson here is do not go for Dynamax so early, guys. Like, if you are 110% sure that you can sweep your opponent's team in the beginning of the match with your Dynamax, then by all means. But because I just feel like if you're playing 6-on-6 singles, you literally have so much room to, you know, switch out back and forth. So if you were to Dynamax so early, I feel like it puts you at such a big disadvantage, right? Like you're able to be walled. Anyways, he stays in, he goes for another Power Whip. Totally not afraid of my water moves, and to be honest, I'm not judging him, right? Because Centiskorch hits so hard right now with the grassy terrain boosted, you know, Power Whip. He can probably live one Scald too, because I'm not invested in any special attack. I got one layer of spikes up, but you know, to be honest, the next attack might just kill me. I'm a little bit paranoid here, so obviously I have to go for recover. I could go for my next toxic spikes, but I really need this Toxapex, and you guys will see just how important my Toxapex played in this battle. I would argue most of my Pokemon showed a lot of screen time, but this Toxapex definitely served quite a bit. I'm not trying to stall out this game, guys. I really just want to set up my second layer of spikes, well, without dying. Like that's my plan right here. Yeah. Luckily, the leftovers, not the leftovers, the Black Sludge and Grassy Terrain is healing me a little bit, but I'm just gonna go for another recover in case he just keeps wanting to pressure me. But my opponent has decided to switch out here and bring out something a little bit more terrifying, which is the Rotom-Fan. Now, Rotom-Fan is obviously electric and I'm obviously water, so I will not appreciate any water attacks. However, I'm actually specially defensive, and what's cool about this is I know he's probably just going to go for a Volt Switch, get that momentum. So, number one, he switches out, so I still have, you know, I'm still unaffected, right? And number two, the biggest threat of Toxapex literally is the Rotom-Fan, and he just switched out all by himself. That's great. And number three, I finally get to set up my third layer of spikes while I'm still above half HP. It's pretty good. This is going to Durant, and again, I'm not too sure what Durant can do. He's Bug and Steel, but he could probably learn some sort of ground or electric move. So at least I know maybe an electric or ground move is coming. I'm not too sure, but he comfortably sent it in, right? He was not forced to switch into Durant, so he knew that Durant can probably do something to me. But without even thinking, I'm definitely going to switch out my Toxapex, expecting maybe a ground move, but unfortunately I don't have a flying Pokemon. So I just figured, you know what, let's just bring out my Eviolite Gurdurr. You know, Gurdurr has such massive defense, and on top of Eviolite, he's going to have much more boosted defense. And on top of that, my Gurdurr actually has Fire Punch. And my opponent probably knows that. He probably knows I will go for a Fire Punch. So I figured, well, he could even just stay and just go for like an Iron Head or anything, but I just went ahead and go for a Drain Punch. If he stays in, you know, at least I get some HP back. It's all good. So yeah, I'm really not sure what this Durant can do. We only saw one move. However, he is switching out, and he goes into the very obvious Corsola, which is okay. Like, I'm not too bummed about it. You know, him switching into Corsola basically forces his Corsola to be badly poisoned, which is really awesome. Because the last thing that Corsola needs is, well, to be badly poisoned, because Corsola is such an amazing wall with such high defense and, you know, has strength sap to recover. So it's thanks to this badly poisoned, you know, layer of spikes, this is definitely going to hinder the Corsola really well. I don't know what I'm expecting. Like, he could go for a Scald, he could go for a Strength Sap, or even maybe Stealth Rocks. I'd have no idea. I'm just gonna go to Toxapex, because I figured at least I can probably outstall this Corsola simply because he is poisoned. He actually went for the Will-O-Wisp in front of my Guts Gurdurr. My Gurdurr actually had Guts. If you guys don't know what Guts is, it's basically an ability that boosts your attack if you are, affected by some sort of status element, including, burn, toxic, poison, all that. But I also have another Pokemon that doesn't mind getting hit by a Will-O-Wisp, which is my, Chandelure, and I grabbed that Flash Fire. And keep in mind, I'm not stuck in Choice Specs anymore. I stole my opponent's heavy duty boots. So I figured, okay, Corsola literally lost like 30% health in 2 turns thanks to Toxic Spike. So I'm pretty sure one Shadow Ball can end his life. And my opponent has he has 0 normal types. So I'm free to just go for a Shadow Ball. He switches out, that's fine, but something is going to get 2-hit KO'd. He does go into Quagsire. Totally admirable. But let's just be honest, a Chandelure has such high special attack, and Shadow Ball is so strong. It does nearly half. Actually, it will do half, thanks to Poison. And I don't even have to go for a Shadow Ball next turn. I'm free to just go for a super effective, oh yeah, you guessed it, an Energy Ball. Energy Ball does 4 times to Quagsire because Quagsire is water and ground. So my opponent has no chance at all. Absolutely 0 chance, and the Quagsire does go down. So we got rid of his ground type, which is huge, and we also got rid of maybe his water absorber, because Quagsire can probably have water absorb as his ability. So basically we got rid of, Quagsire, which is immune to water and immune to electric. So that gives me a lot of room to stretch. Now he goes into Ferrothorn. I'm not too sure why. He thinks maybe he could live 1 Fire Blast, and maybe he could, but I did get a Flash Fire, so technically this Fire Blast probably could have killed like 2 or even 3 Ferrothorns. So my opponent isn't setting up any rocks today. I killed his Quagsire, which can set up Stealth Rocks. I killed his Ferrothorn, which can set up Stealth Rocks, and I believe his Corsola, which might also know Stealth Rocks, well, can't really, do anything in front of my Chandelure, because my Chandelure does have Shadow Ball. It goes in Rotom-Fan, and that's totally admirable. Actually, that's really cool, but I figured, I did get a Flash Fire boost on my Fire Blast. I feel like I might have a chance to just take him out. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, there's nothing he can really do to one-hit KO me. Even a Dark Pulse will not one-hit KO me. It does, however, flinch me. And that's really, really sad, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like a Flash Fire boosted Fire Blast would be close, right? It would be so close. And I really would have appreciated landing that, but this is Pokemon. You get flinched sometimes, which is okay. So I'm expecting another Dark Pulse, or maybe even a Volt Switch. I do have Sandaconda, which is immune to Volt Switch, but Sandaconda will definitely die to 1 Dark Pulse. Even if he does go for Volt Switch, then what? The next turn, he'll probably just kill me with the Dark Pulse. So, just have to go into my Bone Apple Tea, my Flapple, and hopefully he goes for Volt Switch, and he does. Now, he does get that Switch priority, but, Flapple probably was the best counter for any electric moves, because number 1, Flapple is a grass type, and number 2, Flapple is also a dragon type. So he resists electric moves 4 times, actually. Super awesome, and that actually gives me quite a bit of momentum, even though he was the one that switched out. Now he goes into Durant. That's cool, right? Again, I do have a pretty awesome counter for Durant, which is basically my Toxapex, honestly. Nothing in my team can, nothing in his team can really do too much to Toxapex. But don't worry guys, this video is not purely about Toxapex. Like, I'm gonna showcase, a late game sweep here. He goes X-Scissor. Yeah, I mean, that does, super effective damage to Flapple, but it does nothing to Toxapex. And my Toxapex has no investment in defense. It has an investment in HP and special defense. So, to be honest, his Quagsire died. Nothing in his team is immune to water. I'm free to just hit up a Scald. And hopefully I can get a burn. Yeah. still don't know what he has, because there was that one time in the earlier beginning of this video, this Durant wanted to stay in and attack me, and honestly we don't know what it was. So it could still be like a, I don't know, maybe he can learn high horsepower or like a Thunderfang, I'm not too sure. But I am confident, I am quite confident that I can live at least one attack, and hopefully I can burn it so that he'll be burned next turn. He does go for Thunderfang, but he actually misses it, and you know, I'm really sorry to see that. Durant does have Hustle, and Hustle does have a chance to, you know, miss. You know, I would know too because my Flapple has Hustle. And I do land a burn on my first skull, so, you know, things are looking pretty awesome. I mean, I got flinched, right? So I think it's only fair that he misses after I got flinched. He goes for a Thunderfang. Thankfully, he didn't flinch me twice. And with the second Scalded, it's going to be a 2-hit KO. Super easy, super simple 2-hit KO on Toxapex. You know, Toxapex is not trying to be an annoying wall. Toxapex is also claiming some slays here too. Speaking of slays, here comes the Rotom. My opponent obviously wants to revenge kill me with a Volt Switch or maybe a Thunderbolt. Right? We don't know. Honestly, I don't know what this Rotom has left. We only saw that he has Volt Switch and Dark Pulse. So he could potentially still kill me with like a Thunderbolt or maybe even a Volt Switch. I don't know. Again, I do have my ground type, but you know, I know he has that Dark Pulse, and Dark Pulse would probably kill my Sandaconda. So I was just like, yeah, screw it. I'll bring out, instead of my Dark type, I'll just bring out, you know, something that resists it 4 times. I mean, it's pretty much the same, really. If you resist Electric type 4 times, it's not too bad. He does go for a Dark Pulse, and that does so much. I have no idea what kind of spread he's probably modest. But I'm actually Choice Scarfed. And a Choice Scarf Flapple definitely outspeeds Rotom. So I'm not even going to second guess. My opponent has 3 more Pokemon left. None of them resist or are immune to Dragon. So I figured I'm just going to go for my Hustle boosted Choice Scarf Outrage, and it actually one-shots Rotom. You do not mess with Hustle, guys, and honestly you don't mess it with Hustle Flapple, because Flapple's base attack is so high. And on top of that, Outrage is probably the strongest move out there. And you give it Hustle and it's just amazing. He doesn't even have to go for Dragon Dance. Now Flapple can learn Dragon Dance, but to be honest, does he need Dragon Dance? No. He just outspeeds every single thing and just hits him up with an Outrage. My opponent has no choice and goes into his Corsola. It's his defensive wall. It's probably his best defensive wall, but let's just be honest. Thanks to those Toxic Spikes and thanks to Hustle, he has no chance. He has no chance against my Flapple's Outrage. So, and go for my second Outrage, and I'm so glad I'm not missing these Outrages, and that actually just completely wipes Corsola. And my opponent actually has 1 more Pokemon left, and unfortunately I am confused at this point. But I don't care. It's my opponent's last Pokemon. I have no choice. I'm just gonna stay in and hope that I can avoid confusion. And to be honest, the timer has finally showed ourselves. We only have 3 minutes left, so I figured, do I really need to Dynamax? Because there's a chance I might not outspeed if I Dynamax, so I figured there's no need to Dynamax. This technically is my Gmax Flapple, but in the end, I don't even have to Gmax it. And there you guys go. A little Flapple late game sweep. Thank you so much, Kai, aka Undead. If you guys haven't seen or even heard of Undead, he's a really cool YouTuber. He shows a lot of footages and streams on all kinds of Nintendo Switch games, so definitely click on his channel, which is right down there in the description. If you guys do enjoy this battle, well, leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.